The Galactic Academy's recreation dome buzzed with the chatter of dozens of species, their translators creating a symphony of overlapping conversations. Lyanna Chen sat cross-legged on the synthetic grass, her dark hair catching the artificial sunlight as she sketched the peculiar flowering plants that grew in the Academy's biodome. At 17, she was one of only 12 humans enrolled in the prestigious interstellar institution, part of humanity's first cultural exchange program with the Galactic Confederation. "Look at the primitive scribbling," came a guttural voice from behind her. Lyanna didn't need to turn around to recognize the speaker, Vextar, a Croylian whose species resembled massive, scaled, bipedal lizards. At nearly 3 meters tall and built like a living tank, he was the self-appointed terror of the Academy's younger students. Lyanna continued sketching, her pencil moving steadily across the paper. She'd learned early in her 6 months here that ignoring bullies was often the best strategy, regardless of the species. "I'm talking to you, soft skin," Vexitar growled, his massive clawed hand casting a shadow over her drawing. "And I'm choosing not to listen," Lyanna replied calmly, not looking up from her work. Around them, other students began to notice the confrontation, conversations dying as they turned to watch. Marcus Reed, her human classmate and closest friend at the Academy, started to rise from where he'd been reading nearby. Lyanna caught his eye and shook her head slightly. Marcus hesitated, then settled back down, though his body remained tense. Vexitar's laugh was like grinding stone. "Humans think they're so clever, so special. The Confederation only invited your pathetic species because they felt sorry for you." His voice carried easily across the dome, drawing more attention. "Barely out of your own solar system, and you think you belong here with real civilizations." Several students murmured agreement. The Croylians were an ancient warrior race, respected and feared throughout the galaxy. Humanity, by contrast, was the newest addition to galactic society. Young, small, and largely untested. "You know what I think about human art?" Vextar reached down and snatched the sketchbook from Lyanna's hands before she could react. The moment his claws touched the paper, everything changed. Lyanna moved with liquid grace, her body uncoiling like a spring. Her hand shot out, fingers rigid, striking the soft spot where Vexitar's arm met his shoulder. The alien's grip on the sketchbook loosened involuntarily. In the same fluid motion, Lyanna rolled backward, came to her feet, and caught her falling, sketchbook before it hit the ground. Vextar stared at his numb arm in shock, then roared in fury. "You dare strike me, human whelp?" He charged, his massive bulk promising to crush the small human girl. But Lyanna was no longer there. She sidestepped at the last possible moment, her foot hooking behind Vextar's ankle. The alien's own momentum worked against him, and he crashed face first into the synthetic turf with an impact that shook the ground. The watching students gasped. Some species had never seen their movements used against them with such precision. Vextar scrambled to his feet, scales flushed with embarrassment and rage. "Lucky move, soft skin, but luck won't save you from this." He pulled himself up to his full, intimidating height. "It wasn't luck," Lyanna said quietly, slipping into a loose, balanced stance that those familiar with human martial arts would recognize as a hybrid of several disciplines. "It was physics. Force equals mass times acceleration. You provided both." Vextar's second charge was more cautious, his claws extended to rake at the small human, but Lyanna flowed around his attacks like water around a stone. Every swipe met empty air. Every attempt to grab her found only space. When she struck back, it was with surgical precision. Nerve clusters, pressure points, joints stressed beyond their natural range of motion. The alien began to slow, confusion replacing rage. Nothing in his warrior culture had prepared him for an opponent who turned strength into weakness, who made size a liability rather than an advantage. "Impossible," he panted. "Humans are weak, fragile. Your species barely survived its own planet." Lyanna caught his wrist as he threw an increasingly desperate punch, used his own force to spin him around, and applied pressure to a nerve cluster that sent him to his knees. "You're right," she said conversationally, maintaining the joint lock. "We are fragile. Our planet tried to kill us every day for millions of years. Ice ages, plagues, predators, natural disasters, and eventually each other. She increased the pressure slightly, and Vextar's resistance crumbled. Do you know what that taught us? That survival isn't about being the biggest or the strongest. It's about being adaptable. It's about learning from every encounter, every defeat, every victory. Marcus had stood up now, along with dozens of other students forming a wide circle around the confrontation. Among them were several Croylian students, watching in stunned silence as their supposed racial superior was systematically dismantled by a small human girl. Your people, Lyanna continued, became the apex predators of your world through size and strength. You never had to learn to fight smarter because you could always fight harder. But humans? We've been the underdog in every conflict we've ever faced. We learned to use tools, tactics, and intelligence because we had to. She released Vextar's arm and stepped back. The alien remained kneeling, staring at her with something approaching awe. We studied every species in the Confederation before coming here, Lyanna said. Your anatomy, your psychology, your weaknesses. Not because we wanted to fight, but because we wanted to understand. Knowledge is just another tool for survival. Vextar slowly got to his feet, no longer the intimidating bully who had approached her minutes earlier. I underestimated you. Most people do, Lyanna replied, opening her sketchbook to a fresh page. It's one of our greatest advantages. As the crowd began to disperse, Marcus approached his friend with a grin. Remind me never to mess with your art supplies. Lyanna smiled, settling back into her original position on the grass. The sketch of the Altarian bloodbloom was particularly good. I'd hate to have lost it. She resumed drawing, her pencil capturing the delicate alien flowers with the same precision she'd used to dismantle a 3-meter warrior. Around the dome, students gave her a wider berth than before, but it was respect now, not dismissal. Humanity might be the newest addition to galactic society, but they were quickly learning that new didn't mean inferior. It just meant unpredictable. And in a galaxy full of ancient civilizations set in their ways, sometimes being unpredictable was the greatest strength of all. The universe was about to learn what humans had always known. It's not the size of the dog in the fight that matters. It's the size of the fight in the dog.